Bam! Bam! That's not the right button. There we go. So welcome in to let's try it again. Welcome in to GSL Atlantis spaceship. Spawning down here in the lower left-hand corner in the green color, he's playing for the team Benevolent Morons. It is Tunamug. And spawning across from him in the purple color, playing for Team Kessel. This is the ace match, so everything on the line. It is LVMatterhorn. I'm not familiar with the clan tag LV, or if it even is a clan tag. His name could just be Matterhorn. I don't think so. So, this is the ace match. Both teams tied up at 3 apiece, so this best of 3 series will determine who gets to claim the glory for their team and who has to go home crying, sadly, in their sleep. Not that these players went anywhere to go play. My analogy was perfect. And shut up. Tunamug with an early scout. As it tends to happen, he's playing against a random player. I do not believe Matterhorn was allowed to race pick or anything like this. So this is a blind pylon down at the bottom of the rope. And you'd have to make something of that, especially in PvP, where that can just be sniped really, really easily. In fact, it may be better at that point just to sacrifice it, although you need a gateway very quickly in that case. So now that he knows his opponent's Zerg and has a general idea of his strategy, he's going to throw down that forge at the front. And we'll see. Probably a pretty typical opening game here. Forge fast expand from Tunamug. LVMatterhorn, a little bit weird going for pool first. Maybe aware that his opponent's probe will be there, waiting in his natural. And he's got 2 drones there to peck away at it. And, oh, it doesn't pick it down, and there's the pylon to block it. He had just a split second, but Tunamug was able to move back in and block it for BM. And now he'll run away as the drone in hot pursuit. So that's so annoying having your hatchery pylon blocked, and he'll have to deal with this before he'll be able to build that hatchery. Also, congratulations to Matterhorn. I saw in the forums. Got promoted to Diamond recently. Ah! That's the ultimate goal of the league, if you're unaware, is to get all of our Chobos into Diamond. I guess all of our Chobos, not necessarily my Chobos, but somebody's Chobos into Diamond. So congrats to everybody who's hit that milestone. Hopefully we'll all be soon to follow. Tunamug, meanwhile, going for a gateway. He actually doesn't have a cannon yet, but he doesn't expect any pressure. He's only seen the 4 Zerglings attacking his pylon, and they were attacking his pylon. He didn't just send them across map. So now he'll need to start that cannon after that pylon finally taken down. For his part, Matterhorn takes an expansion at this base. This base, very, very special. You get this 3rd gas geyser. It's a rich Vespine geyser. You can see I highlighted that. You harvest it with 4 probes, with 4 workers, and it returns 7 gas per trip. Ooh, that really gives your gas income a kick in the pants. So on this map, LVMatterhorn, knowing that, will be able to take this early and get that early gas advantage. This means that his layer tech phase will have so much more power behind it. He'll be able to pop out more Mutalisks if that's what he chooses. He'll be able to get more Infestors. He'll be able to get more Nidus Worms or Hydras. I don't know why you would do that unless it's just for a specific timing attack, but you could get more of them if you wanted them. Zergling's trying to run by just to get a little bit more scouting information. He didn't see too much. He didn't even see the Nexus, but this is what you'd expect to see at the front at this point. We saw the general timing of the cybernetics core, so not a waste by any means. And we see a little bit of a mistake there. He accidentally starts air weapons level 1 for a second, but then he does cancel that and goes to warp gate. Boring. There's the forge starting that +1. So usually this indicates an earlier timing attack from our Protoss. We'll see 3 or 4 gateways thrown down and then a quick timing with a lot of zealots included in it. Just because the +1 for the zealots allows them to 2 Zerglings rather than 3 hit them. It's the entire rationale. LVMatterhorn taking his rich Vespine geyser. He's actually going to put 3 in it. If anybody's watching on this map, you do put 4 in it. You can see there's kind of a big gap here. So 4 in that geyser. Especially if my team's watching. You better do it. That's actually the only gas geyser that he's taken, which is kind of interesting to note. So he'll have a pretty good gas income just out of that geyser. He'd have more if he put 4 in there, but now following up, he will go up to, I guess it's like 3.5 geysers. I would count this as about a geyser and a half, I think, just temporarily, to keep track of it. Tunamug, meanwhile, going very quickly to 4 simulators, and we'll see what kind of tech he wants to do, because usually you won't go 4 simulators without tech. That's, yeah. So he's going up to, oh, never mind, that's a robotics facility. So he's picking a robotics facility. We'll see if this is a Sentry Immortal push, if this is an Immortal timing attack, if it's a Colossus timing attack. Only going up to 3 gateways immediately, which is kind of interesting, and there I believe more being thrown in, so that'll bring him to a total of 5. If we look economically, 51 drills to 41 probes, that's kind of where you expect both players to be. Matterhorn's been able to sit back. He does have this kind of extended hatchery, so he needs to build a lot more defenses. He needs more spine crawlers to really be safe, because while this base is important, it's not as important as if he just comes into the natural and runs by. You can lose a lot of workers that way if you're not fully prepared for everything. Now, let's see the vision as an observer. Will he see the Zergling sitting here? He does, but it doesn't look like he's going to take note of it. That would be a really big tip-off that there's a base there. He shouldn't... Usually your opponent will have a 3rd base. Oh, he's headed right for it. Really well done by Tunamug. He'll scout that. Very nicely done. And he'll probably be a little bit grossed out that his opponent took this base. Meanwhile, there are gateway units moving across the map. There are, again, quite a few Zerglings already out to defend, and we see that immediately triggers 15 roaches to be made. So LVMatterhorn kind of going Stefano style so far. We'll see if he continues that or not. But this is kind of an interesting place. This sets up a really natural flank for Matterhorn if he can catch his opponent's army just sitting here. However, with these sentries, he may be able just to force field out. Actually, I'm not sure why those force fields go down necessarily. And the Zealot actually trapped in the back there. One of the Stalkers immediately picked off, but these roaches trying to do some damage. Now this Immortal able to wail. This not well executed really by either player. Now Matterhorn's surrounded, he's out of force fields, and he can't defend that. He will get away with his Immortal, that power unit, but he lost a lot there for no gain. All it allowed him to do is he can take that 3rd base now. That's not a safe 3rd base because he doesn't have an army in there. But that timing attack basically failed. It failed pretty horribly. But he's got a decent army back home. He needs to pick up his probe protection again. We see he's actually cut it here, which is a little bit unfortunate as he's falling farther and farther behind. Although Matterhorn not running behind this at all. He's making roaches. And this is kind of the style that we've seen from Stefano. You just make roaches. It's a good macro exercise. But I won't say anything beyond that. He started melee attacks, which is kind of interesting, especially since he has the Gladiatory Constitution. So I'm not entirely sure what the melee attacks are for, since he's not making any more Zerglings. Or Banelings. Anyway, Spire on the way as well, from Matterhorn, and Mutalisks will be a great choice, especially since his opponent was mostly sitting on Sentry Immortal, with a couple of Zealots. If he doesn't have that Stalker count high enough, that Mutas transition can just run him over. And we see this gigantic army moving out across the map. The problem with Sentry Immortal is that force fields are fantastic. That's not the best force fields. He did set up the trap pretty well, but he wasn't able to really capitalize on that. He only cuts off 4 or 5 of his opponent's roaches, and that's not worth 4 force fields worth of energy. In comes the Zerg army. It looks like Matterhorn's trying to bait out more force fields from his opponent. There they go. He's not really trapping anything with those, but it will make Matterhorn feel like he has to fight. He's targeting down nothing in particular, but this army just evaporating, and Matterhorn doing a good job just rolling over these Immortals. There are still 2 left, and they're doing so much damage. That Zealot reinforcement did quite a bit of work as well. There's still 2 Immortals left, the cannon now getting involved, and it looks like Tunamug will be able to defend for now, especially with that 3rd Immortal coming out. and he's on triple robo. I don't know how I didn't catch that. Triple robo from Tunamug. He's still only on 5 gateways. So you know what's really good against that? Mutalisks. If Matterhorn throws out a bunch of Mutalisks, there's like literally no anti-air. There's 3 cannons, or 3 sentries and a cannon right now for anti-air. And we see Tunamug again kind of setting up his forces a little too early. I'm not sure exactly what these are for. Ideally, as the Protoss, you use this little choke point to cut your opponent's army basically in half. And then they're trapped up against the force fields and they can't go anywhere. You're able just to slaughter part of his army. But instead, he's kind of setting them up and he's kind of zoning his opponent's army out with them rather than using them to trap things. And that was kind of a bad engagement. The Zerglings immediately ran and engaged on the Zealots, and these Immortals are now just raining down damage. But there's nothing to tank for them. The Immortals are literally the army right now for Tunamug, and out comes some Mutalisks. I believe there's 6, if I recall correctly. So not enough really to do damage quite yet. So we'll see what reaction this is. They fly right into the observer range for Tunamug, and a couple sentries. That's not going to be enough necessarily. He's only on 5 gateways, and if this Mutalisk count gets too high before he realizes it, that's just going to be it. He's not going to have enough anti-air to kill the Mutas. So we'll see what Matterhorn wants to do. He's got 6 Mutas right now. He's got a couple more in production. He's finally starting to get his drone on. He's got his 4th base down, so we're up to 70 drones. Perfect. Really good number. Tunamug's stuck on 49 probes, and he's felt under pressure most of this game. And we do see one of the stray Mutalisks has been caught and killed, and that really tips Tunamug off as to his opponent's plan. So this isn't going to be too effective from Matterhorn. Unless Tunamug just continues with ridiculous Immortal production. This is so many Immortals. He's got 7 Immortals right now. These things just don't die normally, but against a largely Roach army, they really don't die. Guardian Shield coming up, that really helps out against the Mutas, and he's engaging before that massive Mutas can get up to a point where he can kill all these Stalkers. And now Tunamug pushing his opponent back, at least for now. Now Matterhorn getting nearly maxed out. He's starting to make a couple more Mutalisks. He's getting 2/2 upgrades for his Zerglings, which is kind of interesting to note. And in comes the big engagement. There's no real target firing coming on from either player. So this is just a straight up army on army fight. Now the Muta's finally being controlled. He's starting to pick off the last of these Stalkers. There's no more okay, there's 3 more Stalkers left. But there's no ground units for Matterhorn. He's forced to retreat, at least for now. He's got a couple more Zerglings rallied out, and we see 46 more in production. The Mutas come down to the 3rd base. And I don't think these Mutas can quite engage with these Stalkers right now. This isn't going to be cost efficient, especially with 4 more warping in beneath them. And a lot of Mutas dying here, but the Zerglings now coming in trying to get these Immortals down. So we have Roach Zergling versus Immortal. We have Muta versus Stalker, and the multitasking here from both players, not excellent by any means. There goes the Stalker. There's no more anti-air here. The Mutas have free reign of the sky. They'll be able to target down these probes, target down whatever they want. So now 11 workers killed by Matterhorn, and there's the GG from Tunamug, and he'll leave the game. So Team Kessel take a 1-0 lead in the ace match. We'll go into game number 2 very quickly. Again, teams tied at 3 games apiece. And the winner of the best of 3 series will take the match for the week. So please stay tuned for game number 2 between LVMatterhorn and Tunamug. Thank you. This is Marismatic Casting, CTL.